Thank you. Uh, Here is the drama, the book, and I will give it the context of embedding laws of form in an allegory. So Michael Urheber in Pennsylvania and I collaborated to write a drama, a metaphysical musical fantasy titled The Further Shores of Knowing. And that's this book. It's on Amazon. It's an allegory based on laws of form. And as you may know, an allegory is a story which embeds a hidden meaning. An allegory alludes, A-L-L alludes. And our drama alludes to many aspects of laws of form, as the following slides will show some of them. In particular, the first distinction is implicit. The first distinction being where something and nothing are unity that is a sacred balance, a sacred balance. The primary knowing of the further shores resides in the void or unmarked state from which everything emerges. And the story's essential quest, you have this hero on a whale on a quest. The story's essential quest is the journey back to the unmarked state to restore the orienting light of Polaris, which has gone dark. And so that is shown on the front cover. The Little Dipper, Ursa Minor, and the Polaris at the tip is very, very, very dim or dark. By the way, Louis Kauffman and Randolph Dible were both kind enough to write insightful essays unpacking for the reader many of the hidden meanings regarding laws of form and philosophy. So thank you very much, Lou and Randy. And then also, we took inspiration from Arthur Young's book, The Reflexive Universe, Evolution of Consciousness, and I'm a disciple of Arthur Young. And now I can see if I can bring up the slides and start walking you through them. So let me get here. I want to put share and share and there. Okay. So you can see the shared screen. So a drama. The challenge for us was deciding what aspects of laws of form to dramatize and how to dramatize them. And along the way, we realized that laws of form itself is filled with drama. Spencer Brown says there can be no distinction without motive, and there can be no motive unless the contents are seen to differ in value. Well, this dynamic of motive and value is at the core of every drama and is the basis of every plot. That is why, after we wrote the Further Shores drama, we started writing a book about dramatic theory based on laws of form. And I'll briefly cover that at the end of the talk. Let the play begin. In the first distinction of laws of form, we have a fundamental relationship that invites us to dance and play with the universe. Play, okay. In Arthur Young's theory of process, I quote, "Play is the most fundamental entity of all and is more basic than the fundamental particles that it can create." So the universe creates, quarks and all this matter, all these particles, but underlying it all is uncertainty that is sometimes play. Well, the goal of the story, what is that? After the first distinction, the major element in laws of form is crossing. Crossing drives the drama to its goal. Its goal is to regain the unmarked state in order to restore the fundamental relationship of sacred balance that's in the first distinction. Well, there's a verse in the play. When the hordes had overrun the higher ground, reason won, the age of darkness had begun. So the problem is that the sacred balance, the unity, can easily fall, becoming corrupted or polarized. Then we can have mobs acting not from reason, but from ignorance and emotion. Now, relighting the pole star, this corresponds to regeneration of sacred balance. After the sacred balance has become corrupted, what are our options? The only reasoned one, and as enacted in our story, is to cross to a different state, a state of uncorrupted wholeness that I correlate with the original void, underlying laws of form. Now, the pole star is a metaphor for humankind properly orienting to a sacred balance, that is, truth and wisdom. Our drama begins with the pole star going dark, a metaphor that humankind has lost its proper orientation. Our drama ends with the hero relighting the pole star, allowing humankind to again reorient to that sacred balance. So the hero, you can see on the right-hand side, is riding on a whale it turns out in the Pacific Ocean. So how can the hero get to the place from where he will be like the pole star? We realized that in the absence of the pole star, the hero needed a pointer to true north, where the pole star is, the North Star. We call it a glyph, an arrow. It functions as a compass pointing. And the context for this comes from Arthur Young and from the reflexive universe and from the geometry of meaning with this circle. In astrology, the sign Sagittarius represents insight, truth, wisdom, and higher knowing, which should be our orienting compass. And Sagittarius is the archer whose arrow hits the bullseye of truth, of wisdom, and so on. Now, laws of form's right angle mark also points. It points out and up. So Bigeby's glyph is a Sagittarius arrow as a proxy for the laws of form empty cross. Now, there's one more point I need to make, that this arrow, this glyph, as a compass, points to 1 o'clock. Now, what is 1 o'clock? This requires some explanation. In Arthur Young's theory of the universe, he co-opts astrology's zodiac, this circle with these 12 placed like a clock. He co-opts astrology's zodiac to become absolute angles of some meaningful entities, and he identifies the sign Sag with the quantum of action as, in Arthur's words, the cosmic goose egg from which the universe hatches. So Sag, Sagittarius, has an absolute angle of 1 o'clock. And so that explains that 1 o'clock thing. Okay, another aspect of laws of form that we thought worthy of dramatic portrayal is flippity. If it is, it isn't. Where in an instant, the world can change before our eyes. Now, Michael created this fantastic scene where the whale coughs up in a big hack and then turns inside out. And the verse for that is, for by a fluke it came about the creature was turned inside out. And I'll call this flippy number one. Um, and so you can see the whale turning inside out. So the outside is in and the inside is out. Apologies to the Beatles. And Louis Kauffman has a wonderful exegesis of this scene in his essay in the book. He has an essay in the book. Thank you, Lou. And then there came another hack, and the whale was folded back. So this is flippy number two of a re-entry into normalcy. If we didn't reconstitute the whale, we wouldn't have a character. So re-entry was the perfect way to bring him back. Again, with thanks to Lou for his graphic there on the left side. That is this Mobius flipping inside out. Okay, now we straight from the preface to the first American edition of Laws of Form, Spencer Brown explicates the paradoxes of this statement is false and of x equals minus 1 over x. So there's this wonderful, engaging interaction between the whale and Bigamy. And you can read part of that right there. Okay, now there's a, read the bottom first, the premise. The mark is right angle, joins as well as divides. Of course it divides, but it also joins the inside and outside. Now, on the journey, the hero, Bigamy, encounters a cosmic crossing guard who's shown on the right there. And, most people think of the empty cross or the cross as cleaving the space as opposed to connecting the marked and the unmarked state. Well, it does both. And in this encounter, Bigamy is trying to emphasize the unity, the connection. Hey, we're on the same side. But our hero's intellectual finesse gets its comeuppance when the cosmic crossing guard rejects the argument and says, sorry, not in my book. And Bigamy gets whipped senseless by the cosmic thug. Engstrom is glad he's not Bigamy. Okay. Oh, now we come to something interesting. What makes a hero great? The obstacles that he or she conquers. But sometimes an obstacle that exists appears to be external, but is really inside us. For instance, Spencer Brown identifies one of the greatest obstacles of all, self-identity as an intellectual block. So in the story, we have this giant iceberg as an intellectual block. Well, let's recall Spencer Brown. We must abandon existence to truth, truth to indication, indication to form, as in the laws of form, and form to void. It's on page 101. But how, you ask, can we abandon existence, including self-existence, to void? I promise to give you the answer on the next slide. The answer: see that there's nothing to see. See that there's nothing to see. This becomes a mantra in the musical. We could all try this mantra as we seek to penetrate beyond or behind existence into its source that is being as no thing. Ah, yes, reaching aletheia or aletheia. I defer to Randolph Dible for the pronunciation. as this bright, unmarked space where only truth can enter. Oh, that there can be such a thing. And this is a place dear to my heart, the pervading light that unconceals. Aletheia is an unconcealing. Now, there's another aspect that comes out of the void emerging, from the void emerging everything. And here we're coming to music channeled from the void. Um, the lambdoma, which is shown on the left, is this grid of ratios, Pythagorean ratios, along which ratios are that correspond to the tones, the pitches in music, in sound. And the lambdoma shows something very astounding, that the convergence of all the tones don't converge to 1/1, I call the logos, but instead converge at the source, beyond the logos. The logos is the 1/1, this right angle and its grid. But all these tone lines converge para, beyond, at the 0/0. And this is like unmarked void being beyond the first distinction. The first distinction kind of comes out of this original unmarked void. Anyway, Urheber created the musical tonal world of the Further Shores of Knowing based on a unique double six pyramid that's shown on the right side, with the good guys on top and the bad guys on the bottom. And so music, Urheber was being informed by these lambdomas corresponding to Bigabee and Celia on the top and so on. And so this music can have this special quality. Well, what else could there be? There can be laws of form speaking to would-be writers. The book, The Eyes of Lynceus, is our new work targeted for completion in 2025. And we are applying concepts and laws of form to show a deep unity that a would-be writer can enter into to make their work, their writing, compelling, while simultaneously attaining self-growth and healing. Well, thank you. And please visit us at thefurthershores.com. And now I welcome any questions so I can get out of this thing, unshare. Okay. I gotta share, and then I gotta click stop share. Okay, there we go, stop share. And now I welcome any questions.
Thank you, Jack. Questions? Comments?
Hi, yeah, I actually have one.
Yeah, Valerie, go ahead.
So, just you mentioned the word cleave, joining and separating earlier, and I have just been I've been studying into the notion of contronyms and the semantic self-opposition, and I was wondering, I do feel like there is a pretty interesting connection in the fact that there are a lot of it seems that this sort of semantic self-opposition is fundamental to language and cognition as a whole, especially with the fact that creating creating a distinction also creates, the context and the content at the same time, or the inside and outside. And many of the sort of meanings that can be identified in words and phrases that are semantically self-opposite, such as, for example, going in away or towards myself, or open or closed, um or positive or negative emotional valence. I was wondering if you had explored that in your work further.
Well, I see in laws of form that all of that, and yeah, from the one, um, or the zero over zero, um, comes everything else, and as this emergence emerges, there's the idea of a cleavage, as both uh, separating and simultaneously uniting. Uh,
Hmm.
and sometimes a woman's breasts are pushed together and they're divided, but it's simultaneous. It's the same. It's the is the glass half full or half empty? It's both. And so there's that. You could say it's paradoxical, but that's the way it is. Um, so I'm agreeing with you, and I think you're pointing out the ubiquity or pervasiveness of that, and I totally agree. So it's not so much in our musical per se as in the universe and in laws of form.
Yeah, I I wonder like I'm just like wondering how it would be used in a musical, because like it's
Oh,
I had to use
well,
yeah, like I had to use some advertisements with these, and it was honestly kind of tough. So
well,
yeah,
I wish us
but
both luck in
oh yeah,
doing that.
yes, this is very fascinating. Thank you.
You're
I'm
welcome.
excited
Thank
to
you.
check in.
And we have a question in the room from Leon.
Hi, Jack. Thank you. Lovely to see more narrative in the conference program.
Mm.
I wonder how two things intersect with the Further Shores of Knowing and the book you're working on. Specifically, the book you're working on. The first is Bill Viola's video game, which, by his own admission, seeks to lead to enlightenment. I don't know whether you're aware of that. He's an artist and creates
No, I'm
these
not, but
fun things.
but that could be a proper goal of any literature.
Exactly, yes. And secondly, more specifically to my own interest in narrative and laws of form, how, if at all, do story structures inform your approach to narrative and laws of form?
Story structures. Well, I guess,
Specifically, my work on story structure in story and structure.
yeah, yeah, no, no, no. I mean, the structure is a fundamental, structuralism, the whole theme of philosophy and so on. But okay, I mean, I guess in some sense, let me free associate that in this laws of form community we had, was it Bruce Cullum and also Leon and now Urheber, um, that of trying to apply laws of form in literature. And I think Bruce did, basically focusing on these boundaries and the um, relationship between spaces, narrative spaces, the narrator and then the stories inside stories and all that kind of thing. And laws of form is a natural model structure within which to do that. And so Bruce did that. Um, and then Leon has done in his book, you know, um, using uh, tokens and things, laws of form, um, for that. And so, but the this book that Michael conceives, and I'm the other half, um, is more of kind of taking these archetypes or something, these structural relationships, and trying to find them, um, in story, and the for me, there's laws of form is a canonical example of integrating levels of unity, and life itself can be seen that way, and not only what the writer, not only the production of the writer, the story that gets published, but the process of writing itself and the authenticity by which what the writer writes has vitality. All those things, I think, come out of an integralness, and so, in some sense, from my end, that's a unique thing about this book we're working on, The Eyes of Lynceus, is that there's this wholeness in which, in writing, the writer is in this crucible of their own psyche and their own creativity, and can simultaneously discover in the writing both what will become the book and find a growth, a self-growth, a growth of self in that process. When I read in college, I read Hesse's Siddhartha, and I wrote an essay on it, and I don't know whether it occurred to me. It actually might have been a comment of the professor who read my essay, who pointed out that in the process of writing that book, Hesse himself discovered things he didn't know before he started writing it. And so for me, that was like a mini revelation. And I see that as an example of this integralness of our process in life. Anyway, that's a long answer, and that may not have been as specific as you'd like, Leon, but it's a start.
So Jack, there's another question in the room. Adam here has a question. I'm going to give it to him now, but I also want, in just the couple minutes that we have left in the Q&A here, to invite Michael, if you wanted to say anything, about the book and the production or the future of this series and so on, but in the meantime, here's Adam.
Hi, Jack. Thank you for the presentation. I couldn't help but notice that on one of your slides, you used Abraxas. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, and if this choice was conscious. I would love for you to expand on this.
Well, that would be from Michael, and hopefully Michael can talk. Michael, can you unmute?
Maybe he can. Maybe he can. Oh, there
I see that move.
So Michael, we can hear you, but you're very quiet. Yeah, but it's very faint.
What about now?
Better.
It doesn't quite work for our room, I think. Shoot. Is there some way? Do you have a volume situation?
You could call in.
Let me try something else real quick.
Okay. I think we might be able to hear you now. We're adjusting our volume here. Yeah.
Is that any better?
Yeah, we can kind of make it out if we strain our ears. Yeah.
How about
That's
posting to the
better?
chat?
Oh, that's all better. Yeah.
Okay, real quick.
Oh, wait. It went back to not being as good. Whatever you did just a moment ago, we heard it all better. Sorry for the technical difficulties here, but no, but there was a little window a moment ago where we heard you loud and clear.
Is that a good one?
No, I think your mic's broken. Touch it. Maybe like there's a connection on them.
What about that? Is that the good one? Okay.
Not very
It's
good.
okay. Go ahead and talk. We'll make do. We have captions.
But let me first just answer the question of Adam that yes, Michael is aware of Abraxas. Yes.
I think that in particular, we were looking at Spencer Brown's expression as conveying a certain archetypical reality. So when you look at the expressions, they sort of jumped out to me as very thematic. And then when we started considering all the sort of possible themes of drama, they seem to find a place within Spencer Brown's structure. So it's the arrangements that are very significant to us in the book that we're working on.
Very good. Any more questions over here?
Yeah.
Any more questions? Is there any other final remarks that you gentlemen would like to say in this segment?
Just thank you very much for the opportunity to talk.
Excellent. Thank you. Let's thank our speakers.